rid of your work plane by taking off the visibility. So there we go. We got two sides. We got the front and both sides. I'm going to do the back. So create, back, find your folder. You can see it kind of gets repetitive after a while, so feel free to fast forward if you kind of get the idea of this at this point, and then pick it up again here in a little bit. Okay, we will create, oh, I don't want to create, I want to click back here, start my new sketch, revolve it again. I'm going to choose, you can choose either side. I'm just going to choose this side right here because this is what I'm going to attach my back to. Okay, so if you imagine, like I said, what are you nailing to? I'm going to nail my back to this side right there. And then when I project geometry, I'm going to project the geometry of the entire outside of that. Okay, I could hover over this if I wanted to, but I don't want to project that whole, so I'm just clicking on those 5 sides. Line tool, click on the start, click on the end of each one of these lines. I think I missed it. Should be purple if you snap on it. If it goes green, you must have missed the start or stop of that line, the start or end of it. Let's finish that sketch. We will extrude it and 0.5 thickness. There we go. Let's hit return, get rid of the work plane, and let's focus on the bottom. So there's my birdhouse. Let's go to create, bottom. Let's go into our Google file stream. Rotate this up. Click on one of the planes or one of the surfaces where we're going to be nailing our bottom to, and start 2D sketch on that same side. Okay, this time we're going to project geometry on the outside pieces here. So I'm going to click, 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 click. All right, and if we offset now, pull all this at the same time, I can offset 0.5. You can offset it however much of an overhang you want. My design, I'm offsetting it 0.5. And then finish the sketch. Extrude. Now if we look at this, what's going to happen is if I extrude this, it just extrudes kind of the center, but I want to extrude both. So I got to click both spots to extrude that all the way. 5.5 inches. Click OK. Return. Get rid of my work plane. And spin it around. Okay, now our last 2 pieces, the 2 sides of the roof, and these are a little bit tricky. So we're going to create. I'm going to do roof. All right, let me say right roof. Navigate to my folder. Click OK. Okay. Now, normally you'd think that we would project geometry along here and then extrude it out, but I want to have some overhang. So the way that I'm going to set this thing up is I'm going to establish this front as my plane or my work plane. Do a 2D sketch off of that plane right there, and here's why. I'm going to take project geometry and I'm going to project this line right there, and I'm going to offset it up the thickness of the wood, which is 0.5, and I'm I'm going to take a line and trace along that line right there. All right. In order for these two roof pieces to come together, instead of coming together right here in the middle, I'm going to have this piece overlap this piece. So I want this piece to tuck right along this line, continue up, and be flush with this line. So I'm going to project geometry off this front side and then take a line and extend it along that line and keep going. I'll zoom in so you can see it. Extend along and overlap where that area is. Hit escape to drop the line, and then familiar tool, extend, trim, trim. So now you can see that this edge kind of runs collinear with my roof. All right, now down here, that's what we got to do down here. I'm going to hit escape to drop all tools, and I'm going to extend. I'm just going to pull, drag this line down a little bit further. I'm going to take my line and I'm going to make a perpendicular line, hit escape, to here. That doesn't look very perpendicular, so I'm going to use my perpendicular constraint. Click my first line, click my second line, and now it's perpendicular. Okay, I'm going to take this line and extend it off of escape, missed it. I'm going to extend this off the end. I want that to be collinear. Let's see if it'll allow me to do that. Okay, and then I'm going to trim. There we go. Oop, looks like I'm zoomed in. I can trim off another little piece right there. It's important you get all that stuff trimmed off. Okay, now I'm going to dimension. I want this overhang only to be 1/2 inch over or past. So I'm going to click here, click there, and then I'm going to click and pull. And try that again. Hit the dimension tool. I'm just going to click this little line that we just added and pull that straight out. And I want that to be an overhang of 0.5. I can pick anything I want. I'm going to make that 0.5. And it looks like I need to trim that off. There we go. So I'll finish that sketch. And now this will be a little bit different. When I go to extrude that, I can extrude it in that direction. I can extrude it in that direction by clicking the second line. I can extrude it symmetrically in both directions. But in my case, I want to extrude it 2 different distances in both directions. So I want it to come off the front. I want it to overhang 0.5. And I want it to overhang 0.5 off the back. So it needs to travel 5 total inches, 4 for the middle, 1/2 inch for the thickness of the front and the back, so that's 5 inches. And then another 1/2 inch, so 5.5 inches. And click OK. I'm going to return and get rid of my work plane. And when I revolve it around, you can kind of see that it's extruded in both directions off the front. All right, last piece. Go to create. This one's going to be my left roof. My folder is going to be the same. Oops. Okay, and I'm going to create the part right off the front again. Start my 2D sketch off the front again, and I'm going to project geometry this time all the way to the tip top. Okay, offset in this direction 0.5, and if I zoom in, I'm going to project geometry off the top edge here. Take a line, just start it somewhere on the line here, extend it through that point and continue it on up, and hit escape to let go of that line. All right, extend this line till it hits that line. Good. and trim off that piece, trim off that piece. All right, now down here, I'm going to hit escape to drop my tools, extend this line on down, make a line coming off the end of this, and I want that to be perpendicular to this line, so click that line, then click that line. I want the dimension of this to be, click and drag it, I want that to be 0.5 inches thick as well, and then take a line and connect it back into itself. Okay, last thing we need to do is dimension along here. We want that to overhang to be the same, 0.5 inches. Whoops, and that kind of messed with my line back here as I pushed it. So let's see what happens. I'm going to escape. I just have control of this point right here. I'm going to drag that down. Well, let's see what happens if I take a line along there and make it collinear. There we go. I took that line, made it collinear, so it was in line, and then the trim tool. Now that might have been in order that I did that. That hadn't happened to me before, but that's how you'd fix it if that happens to you. It looks like I forgot to put that line in place. That might have been why I did it. Okay, finish that sketch. Extrude. We want to pick this fourth one again. Oh, interesting. So it's not liking something. Cancel out of there. I'm going to double click back into that sketch. And I'm going to zoom in to make sure I don't have any open, oh, there it is, openings, because it wouldn't extrude because it wasn't closed. So let's see if I take my extend tool and extend that line to that point. There it is. So we'll try it again. Go to my extrude. Now when I click on it, there it is, it's closed. Click my one out there, change that to 0.5 in that direction and 5.5 in that direction. Hit return, get rid of my work plane, and I am done with the inventor assembly of my birdhouse. Okay, now important, nothing saved as we were going. So if I click the save, we saved it at the beginning before we started drawing anything, but if I click save, this little icon up here is save. You could also go to file, save. You're going to see yes to all. So hit yes to all and click OK. All right, well there you go. This is your birdhouse. And if you go over to your Google file stream and go to that folder, you should see all of your parts and the assembly in your Google Drive folder. If you don't, it's saved somewhere. Let me know and we can find where your parts are. We need to get them all into your Google Drive before we go on. There you go.